evening, everybody. I'm absolutely delighted that you are here with me, whether you are joining live or catching up later on the replay. I want tonight to feel like a much needed pause, a moment where everything else can just fall quiet for a while so that you can breathe, think clearly, and reconnect with yourself. So tonight isn't about guilt or unrealistic resolutions. We've all had plenty of those in the past, or any pressure to do better next year. Tonight is really about truth, about courage, clarity, and direction. But before we really get going, I want to let you know that everything we talk about tonight is supported and guided inside the Boss Your Morning 2026 planner. So if you haven't already downloaded it, you can head to the Boss Your Morning app, which is completely free to download from the app stores. And the planner is available in there for you. And that planner has been created very intentionally. It's designed to help you reflect, to reset, to dream, to plan, and actually move forward with confidence rather than carrying everything in your head. So tonight we're going to breathe life into that planner together, and I can't wait to take you through this journey. So the first part is we need to reflect and reset. So we're going to start in the most powerful place we possibly can, and that's the place called where you've been. I mean, most people rush into the new year making lists of goals and resolutions without ever acknowledging the year that they've just lived through. And the truth is, reflection is not about dwelling in the past or getting stuck there. Reflection is about understanding. It's an act of self-awareness, compassion, and emotional honesty. So inside the planner, you'll see that we invite you to walk back through your year. We encourage you to acknowledge the beautiful moments, the achievements, the laughter, and the things that made your heart feel full. But we also ask you to acknowledge the challenges, the hard days, the disappointments, the moments that really stretched you, the chapters that perhaps didn't go to plan, and even the parts of the year that simply felt messy. So life is not a highlight reel. Real life is joy. It's struggle, it's growth, it's stillness, it's confusion, breakthroughs, tears, pride, fear, and courage, all woven into one journey. And every part of it counts. Every part of it shapes you. Every part of it teaches you something about who you are becoming. And reflection helps you meet yourself with kindness. Reflection helps you collect the wisdom of your lived experiences. And reflection gives you the clarity about where you truly stand right now. It's exactly like, and I say this all the time, but it's like setting the sat nav. Inside your planner, we talk about this idea. A sat nav only works when you tell it two things. It needs to know where you want to go, and it needs to know where you're starting from. So reflection is that starting point. It's how you acknowledge the truth of the here and now. So if last year felt beautiful and deeply fulfilling, then honor that. If it felt heavy or emotional, then honor your strength. And if it stretched you beyond what you expected, acknowledge the growth that has already happened. You're still here. You're still standing. You're still in the story. And that matters more than you may realize. Now, there's science behind this, like everything we do in Boss Your Morning. It's grounded in science, psychology, and lived human experience. None of this is fluffy or wishful thinking. There's a powerful research behind the importance of reflection, intention, and emotional alignment. So your brain has that reticular activating system, or RAS, which filters and prioritizes information based on what you repeatedly tell it. And that's important because if you constantly feed your brain messages of stress, overwhelm, hopelessness, or chaos, your brain will keep bringing your attention to more of that. And it thinks it's helping you by protecting you. But when you feed your brain consistent clarity, purposeful thinking, emotional meaning, direction, and hope, your brain also listens to that. And it supports you. It helps you find opportunities. It helps you stay focused. It helps you regulate your emotions. It strengthens your resilience and your commitment to your goals. So, positive psychology has shown us time and time again that people who regularly reflect and set meaningful goals and emotionally connect to their future, they experience better well-being, deeper motivation, like stronger follow through, and significantly improved outcomes in their real life. So, not because they're lucky, it's one of the words that triggers me. It's not luck. And it's not because you're special either, but because you're intentional. And that's exactly where your morning routine plays a vital role. Now, you may know by now, I'm a big fan of James Clear, who wrote Atomic Habits. And he famously reminds us that you don't rise magically to the level of your goals. Instead, you fall to the level of your systems. So your morning routine is that system, and it becomes your emotional anchor, your kind of grounding practice, your daily reset button, and your connection point back to who you want to become and how you want to live. So what I want you to realize is where you're at right now, you're not behind in life. You do not need to catch up. What you need is clarity, intention, structure, and also kindness towards yourself, and consistent leadership of your own mind and emotions. And that's exactly what we're building together. And it's really important to realize that leadership of your own mind, that's you taking control of you. That isn't looking to someone else for direction. That isn't leaning on someone else to see where they're going to guide you. That's you being the leader of your own thoughts, your own mind, and your own direction. And I love that, because actually we're all grown-ups. If you're watching this, it's because you have an intention to go somewhere, or you want to reflect on where you've been and really give yourself some tracks to run on in 2026. And that's important. You are a leader. You have a leadership of your own to lead your own world the way that you want it to go. And when we realize that, I just love being a grown up, because that's the bit for me that means that you can take 100% responsibility for where you're at and where you're going, because you're the leader of your own world. So part 3 of what we also then want to do is create our vision. So once we've kind of reflected on where we're at, we know we're in control, we can then create our vision. And I'm so passionate about this because it makes me excited. I can get out of bed every morning and I know that actually if I focus on my vision and where I want to go, that gives me excitement, that brings me joy, and that changes the way that I start my day. So inside the planner, you'll find your 5-year vision section. I have to say, this is one of my favorite parts because most adults forget how to dream. We learn how to cope, how to manage, how to get through each day. But dreaming requires courage. It requires you to allow joy and possibility and excitement into the conversation again. And most people dramatically overestimate what they can achieve in a year, yet massively underestimate what they can achieve in 5. 5 years is enough time to change your health, your work life, your finances, your relationships, your identity, your confidence, your happiness, and your entire sense of self. 5 years from now, your life will be different. The only question is whether it changes by default or whether it changes by design. And this is where you begin to write statements like, I am, I have, I experience, I feel. And it's not fantasy. This is conscious design. So your future self isn't someone who magically appears. They're being created every single day through conscious clarity and consistent daily alignment. Now, another amazing author, Brian Tracy, who wrote a fabulous book, Goals, that's one of my favorite goal setting books. He reminds us that a clear vision, when supported by definite plans, gives you an incredible sense of personal power. And that sense of power does not come from the outside world. It comes from knowing who you are, choosing to become and taking responsibility for shaping your life intentionally. And this is where we come to understanding what you want, the power of your why. Now, when we move into what I believe is the emotional heartbeat of this entire session, if your reflection shows you where you've come from and your vision shows you where you want to go, then your why is the emotional engine that carries you to where you want to go when life gets real. So your why is the difference between giving up when things get uncomfortable and finding the strength to get back up again. It's the difference between I'll do it when I feel inspired and I'll do it because this matters so deeply to me that choosing differently is simply not an option. So from a positive psychology perspective, your why is unbelievably powerful. The brain does not fully commit to action because something makes logical sense. The brain commits to action because something emotionally matters. So when something matters deeply, your limbic system in your brain activates and your sense of purpose strengthens. Your nervous system becomes more resilient and your mind becomes more resourceful. And that is why two people can set the same goal and have entirely different outcomes. One person lightly wants it, the other person deeply needs it. And the person with the stronger emotional why is the one who stays, who works through difficulties, who makes it happen. And there are generally two main types of why. Some of us are guided by what I call the pull why. This is where we are so inspired by what we want to create that the vision pulls us forward like a magnet. We can see the freedom, the joy, the well-being, the confidence, the stability, or the fulfillment that we want. And that beautiful future self pulls us towards them. Others are guided by a push why. And this is where life as it currently is becomes too painful to stay in it. Something inside you says, I cannot remain here any longer. Maybe you don't want to stay stuck. Maybe you don't want to keep repeating old patterns. Maybe you are tired of feeling small, overwhelmed, overlooked, unfulfilled, or controlled by circumstances. In this case, the discomfort of staying the same pushes you into action. Neither is right or wrong. Both are incredibly powerful. Many of us will experience both types at different points in our lives. So gently ask yourself right now, are you more driven by something beautifully that you desperately want to create or by something painful you absolutely refuse to tolerate anymore? And there's no correct answer. There is only honesty. And honesty is powerful. Let me share something deeply real from my own life. And there was a time when my life looked incredibly successful from the outside. I had stability, I had the job, I had the routine, I had the kind of career people describe as secure, but I also had Oscar. And I had this deep ache inside my chest every time I realised that his childhood was happening. Memories were being created and I wasn't always able to be there in the way I truly wanted to be. I didn't want to be an observer in my child's life. I didn't want to watch his childhood rush by through a window of busyness, exhaustion and obligation to the city. I didn't want to look back one day and carry regret. And that feeling became my why. Not a soft or passing why, a strong, emotional, life alerting why. That why made me brave enough to leave employment and step into entrepreneurship. That why helped me face uncertainty. That why carried me through difficult seasons. And that why pushed me forward when fear wanted to hold me back. That why gave me determination on days when motivation alone would never have been enough. So when your why matters deeply enough, fear does not get to make the final decision. Your why leads, and instead, fear is held in its place. So I wanted presence. I wanted flexibility. I wanted to build something meaningful for myself, my family, and my future. So I did. And that why changed everything. And here's something equally important to understand: your why will change. Your why is not always meant to stay the same for your entire lifetime. It's not something you choose once and then carry unchanged forever. Your why is often there for a reason or a season, and it evolves as your life evolves. Life changes, children grow older, relationships shift and deepen, responsibilities increase, work evolves, priorities align, parents age, people we love pass away, new opportunities appear, and your self-worth also grows. Your emotional maturity strengthens, and every single one of those changes can transform your why. So 10 years ago, my why was about escaping the city, creating freedom and flexibility, and becoming a more present mum for Oscar. And that why served its purpose powerfully. Now, today, my life looks completely different. I now lead multiple businesses. I work with an incredible award-winning team. I carry responsibility for people I care deeply about. I have aging parents to consider. I have another child with Annie. My purpose and my impact have grown, and my season of life has shifted in the most profound way. And as a result, my why now is completely different. My priorities have changed. My responsibilities are different. My heart is pulled in new directions. And this is not failure. This is growth, and it's evolution. It's life living forward. So if your why doesn't feel the same as it once did years ago, that's not something to feel guilty about. That is something to honor. And it means that you're human. It means that you are changing. It means you are expanding. It means you are alive. And this is why I believe so deeply that it's essential to revisit your why every single year. Not as a polite tick box exercise, but as powerful emotional honesty. Now, your why should feel alive. It should feel relevant, and it should feel like it belongs to the current version of you, standing here in this season of your story. So not a past version of you who no longer exists. When your why is strong and true, whether it's pushing you or pulling you, you stop negotiating with your excuses. You stop collapsing at the first sign of difficulty. So you realign faster. You raise your standards. You behave in alignment with who you want to become rather than staying trapped by who you used to be. So your why becomes your compass. Your why becomes your anchor. Your why becomes your energy source. So when you complete your planner, don't just write something that would be nice. Write what is necessary for your soul. Write what truly matters. Then we need to look at what you're going to stop, what you're going to continue, what are you going to start? Because we're moving into a grounding and practical part of the planner where you explore what you will stop doing, what will you continue doing, and what you will start doing next year. This is where honesty becomes action. This is where you acknowledge the habits, behaviors, patterns, thought processes, or commitments that no longer belong in the next season of your life. It's also where you celebrate the things that are working, because not everything needs fixing. Some things you are doing wonderfully well. They deserve recognition and appreciation. And then you choose what needs to begin in order to support the life you are now consciously creating. You do not need to change everything. You simply need to change meaningfully. So when clarity is present, energy increases. And when energy increases, action becomes far more possible. We then need to look at, not having too many things on your plate, but looking at one powerful goal and your routine. So the planner invites you to choose one powerful goal to prioritize. And this isn't about overwhelming yourself with 20 objectives. This is about choosing one deeply meaningful goal that truly matters and genuinely aligns to your why. You then transform your goal into a SMART goal, making it specific, measurable, achievable, aligned with your values, and time bound as well. Now, this isn't wishful thinking. We don't want you to come up with something that is, that is just a wish and a prayer and a dream. This is leadership of your future. Remember, you are the leader in your very own story. And therefore, the vision needs to turn into a plan so that you can then be the leader of that plan, and you can move your routines in that direction so that your structure brings your dream life closer to you. So every day, every morning, you get to reconnect with your purpose, align your emotional state, support your nervous system, and re-energize your body. And just remind your mind who you are choosing to become. So even on days when life feels intense, even on days when you can only move one tiny step forward, those tiny steps, they build trust within yourself. Those tiny steps compound. Those tiny steps win. Now, someone once said to me, and I remember where I was, who I was speaking to, and what they said. They said, show me your morning routine and I will show you your future. And they were absolutely right. My life changed when I stopped letting life simply happen to me and instead decided to lead my day with intention. And I said day there, so lead each day with intention, which meant that I could then take control of my week and my months and my years and my future. So you deserve a year where you do not feel overwhelmed, but grounded, where you do not feel reactive, but purposeful, where you do not feel regretful, but proud. So whatever this last year has been for you, honor it. And now together, we reset the sat nav. We choose where we're going. We choose who we are becoming. We choose a why that belongs to this season of our lives. And I promise you that if you do that and you set your year with intention, you create the plan, you create your daily habits. When you boss your morning, you will boss your day. When you boss your day, you'll boss your week. When you boss your week, you'll boss your month. And when you do that and you boss your year, you will boss your life. And that is the blueprint to success that I have lived by for the last 12 years. And yesterday, I actually took a reflection on the last 10 years and put a post out on social media. Some of the highlights of that, just went through my camera roll and just thought, actually, yeah, what is it? While I've been going through my Boss Your Morning planner, which it's a process that I go through this time of the year, which is so powerful, and just pulled out a few of those highlights, put them together in a reel and shared them on social media, not to impress anyone, but to impress upon people how many experiences, how many life-changing shifts that you can make when you intentionally step into that year with that intention, by reflecting, by setting the sat nav, and just knowing that you can. And the more you prove it to yourself, the better you feel, because you know you can and you know you will. So when your why is strong enough, it will drive you and propel you forward to make the changes that you want to see in your world. And remember, this isn't about changing everything. This is about celebrating your successes, knowing where you're at right now, your starting point, knowing what you want that next part of your journey to include, and then giving it everything that you've got. So thank you so much for joining me on our Boss Your Morning planning session. I wish you all the joy and success as we leave 2025 and enter 2026. And may it be a joyful, happy and successful year for you. So if you haven't already downloaded the Boss Your Morning app, I urge you to do so because that one daily habit, believe me, is easy to do and it's easy not to do. And both of them will have a very different outcome. So, wishing you lots of love and success, and I'll see you in the new year.